But 98% of your thoughts every day are automatic based on your subconscious patterns. It's the action you take that creates the results in your life. It's also the action you don't take that creates the results in your life. Hey there, my friend. Hope you're having an amazing day and week. Welcome to my Achieve Even More show every Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 o'clock New York. Today we're going to be talking about how your automatic thinking affects your financial success and wealth. And my first question for you is a really easy one that a lot of people don't get accurately. What is money? There's your first question. Let's do a little audience participation. What is money? Type in right now, what is money? So a lot of people misunderstand money, and a lot of people are earning way less than they really can earn because they have these disempowering concepts around money. So what is money? There's the first question of the day, and we're going to talk about automatic thinking, automatic thoughts, and how they affect your ability to earn more. So money, if you go back in time, did we have green paper with ink on it? Did we have the internet, to transfer money between people? No. Tribes exchanged money between each other. They exchanged goods and or services within a certain geographic area. We used, whether it was seashells, whether it was berries, whether it was grains, whether it was something that a tribe hunted, they used it as a means of exchange. And so money, in its simplest terms, is nothing more than a means of exchange. Now, we created coins, seashells, chocolate, paper with it. When we used to have coins, the coins represented a certain value of money. And then when people started moving too far away from each other to carry the coins, we shifted over to paper. It was just a means of exchange. And then people put a different value on something. For example, if you were a baker and you baked a loaf of bread and somebody else took care of horses, you can exchange X number of loaves of bread for somebody to take care of your horse's hooves, or for somebody to cut your hair, or for somebody to give you different types of food. So money in its purest essence form is nothing more than a means of exchange. What really impacts your ability to get more of it, more income and more wealth? Can anybody give me some ideas of what do you really think is in your way? And I'm going to get into automatic thinking around money in just a moment. But what do you think really gets in your way? I like to make these sessions interactive. That's the word I was looking for. So what do you think really determines whether you earn more money or not? What do you think really determines it? And here's a question for you. Are there people that have the knowledge and maybe even the skill to earn more money, but they still don't, almost like there's some invisible barrier between them and earning more, right? Whether it's earning more for goods, for products, for services, or through investments. Is there a possibility that somebody could have the knowledge and the skill, or they can acquire the knowledge of the skill in a book, a course, a CD, and still not take action and achieve more income? No self-confidence. So we have fears, limiting beliefs, self-confidence or self-esteem, self-worth, right? Possibly a lack of knowledge or skills. So there are 4 things that hold us back. And so if any of these things are holding you back, are they in your brain somewhere? Are those patterns that are in your brain somewhere? Well, of course they are. Of course they are. And so what happens, and this is the part that, whenever I work with my private clients or I have my events, one of the things that we dive deep in on is how do you identify which 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 are holding you back, and then how do you create a plan to get out of there? So I want to ask every one of you, think about this for 2 or 3 seconds. What are limiting beliefs and where did we get them? Where does fear come from and where did we acquire those fears? And where does low self-esteem or lack of confidence come from, right? Because here's a question for you. When you were born, you had a brain. There were no beliefs that you were born with. You weren't born with any fears. You weren't born with any self-image or self-esteem or self-confidence or a lack of it. So where did they come from? So how many of you understand how the brain formulates beliefs or habits or thoughts? Do you understand the process by which our brains, when we are born, we don't even have the ability to see, right? We have the ability to hear, but we don't have the ability to see. We don't have any meanings that we've given anything. We don't know the world yet. Yes, we're born with some genetic predispositions. We're born with, our autonomic nervous system, our digestive system, our cardiovascular system, our endocrine system, our nervous system. We have 11 different systems in our body that operate automatically because of the genetics, that have created these operating systems that operate without your awareness. So when you and I are born and our parents, our teachers, our brothers, sisters, the things that we see on television enter into our consciousness through what we see, what we hear, and what we experience, our brain creates these neural connections. So imagine that my fists are cells, okay? So we have 100 billion of these when we're born, cells. At the end of every cell, there are something called dendrite spiny protuberances, right? You've got the synapse, and then you've got these dendrite spiny protuberances, and they're just filtering around like this. Every time we hear, see, smell, taste, touch, and experience, these tiny protuberances connect, and they formulate a little bit of a bond or band. And so if we have these positive experiences, these empowering beliefs around money, around ourselves, around what to fear or not, these networks formulate between the age of 0 to 3. We're in the imprinting years, 3 to 7, the modeling years, 7 to 12, the experiential years begin. And we start to formulate these neural networks. Initially, it's happening in our consciousness, but then with time and repetition, it moves from our consciousness to our subconscious. And so a belief around I'm not good enough, not smart enough, not worthy enough, money is easier, money is hard to achieve, I'm too young, I'm too old, I'm too Asian or too Caucasian, I deserve to earn more money or not. Those are nothing more than neural patterns in the brain that have been reinforced and moved into the subconscious mind. And part of what people don't understand is when I talk about, as I did in the title, how does automatic thinking or automatic thoughts impact your financial success and wealth? Once your subconscious mind is conditioned and programmed, it really doesn't matter what you consciously want. Your thoughts, emotions, feelings, sensations, and behaviors that cause your results line up with your subconscious conditioning. So your automatic thinking, if you think that you're too young or too old, the market's not good for you, it's really hard to earn money, I don't have the knowledge, I don't have the skills, whatever your limiting belief is, or if you have a subconscious fear, somebody write this down, all fears are based in subconscious reactions. So when we grow up and we learn things, taking risk is dangerous. If you lose money, you won't be comfortable and you may not be able to recover. If I try this and it doesn't work out, I might be embarrassed or ashamed or ridiculed and judged. All of those beliefs are part of your subconscious memory bank. And when you want to take action to earn more money, to acquire wealth, to invest, to learn something, the first thing that your brain does is it goes into the memory bank and it says, what information, what neural network is in here that could cause me any pain, suffering, emotional suffering, mental suffering, financial suffering. And that then automatically triggers a thought. So we have between 35,000 to 50,000 thoughts a day that are percolating up from your subconscious based on the neural network and the patterns that you've accumulated over the last 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. And so all of your automatic thinking, not your deliberate thinking, because I can say to you right now, can you think of a time where you felt empowered to earn more money and wealth? You say, yeah, I've thought about that and I can actually think about that right now. That is using your conscious choice and ability to do that. But 98% of your thoughts every day are automatic based on your subconscious patterns. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? So if you want to understand how does automatic thinking impact your financial success, if you have a goal to double or triple your income, but you also have a subconscious pattern that's a limiting belief or a fear or a self-esteem issue, your conscious thoughts and goals and desires will be overridden by your subconscious patterns because there's something called neural dissonance. It's neural dissonance. Imagine if one part of your brain said, yes, let's make more money and let's have more wealth and let's live the lifestyle of your dreams. And another part of your brain says, yeah, but you might get hurt. You might lose your money. You might be embarrassed, ashamed, ridiculed. You don't deserve it. You're not smart enough. You're not successful enough to do that. Then you're going to have a little bit of a battle between your brain. And I call that the Einstein-Frankenstein battle. Does this make sense? Does this all make sense to you? So let me share with you something that might give you a visual of what's possible. Imagine if you had a Mercedes-Benz or one of your favorite cars. It doesn't matter what it is, a Tesla, a Mercedes-Benz, an Audi, it doesn't matter. A car that could go 200 miles an hour. Imagine if the engine could go 200 miles an hour, the tires could go 200 miles an hour, all of the car was built to be able to go 200 miles an hour. Back in the 60s, the car manufacturers in the 60s and the 70s put something on the engine of the car called a governor. All right, so a governor is a contraption that you put on an engine that only allows the car to go, let's say 50 or 60 or 70 miles an hour. So even though the car can go 200 miles an hour, when there is a governor, if you don't take off the governor, guess what happens? You don't go any further than the governor can take you, or the governor will allow you to go. So when you think of your brain, your beliefs, the limiting ones or the empowering ones, your fears, your self-esteem, and yes, the knowledge and skill, which affects self-worth, which affects your self-image, which affects your doubt, self-doubt, which triggers fears. If any one of your fears, limiting beliefs, self-image, or knowledge and skills is out of whack, your governor is set to keep you stuck. And so if you wanted to remove the governor, you have to learn how to access the part of the brain where the governor is, your subconscious mind. And so there are 5 key things that are really critical to understand about money and earning more and having more wealth. The number one thing that I know you're capable of achieving is at least 2 or 3 times more income than you're earning right now. The other thing I know for sure is that once you discover how to take off this governor that's holding you back, you can break free and achieve your goals and dreams. Because one of the things I'm going to be sharing with you as well is this. Every human being has one huge relationship that they've had since the day they were able to understand money. And it's called your money story. Okay, so your money story. What is a money story? Right? What is a money story? Our whole lives are based on the stories that we are living. We are telling ourselves a story. You're telling yourself a story about how much you are worth. You're also telling yourself a story about how much you'd like to earn. You tell yourself a story every time you are buying something, okay? You're voting, you're buying with your money story. The things that you purchase, the amount that you spend on a TV or a hotel room or an airplane ticket, or a trip, the type of shoes you buy or don't buy, the t-shirts or dresses or suits that you buy are all based on your money story. And if you want to know what your money story is, just take a look at your results, because every decision you make that involves money is based on the hidden story that you have learned over your lifetime. And so what happens with a lot of people is they match their external world with their internal blueprint or their story. And so if you want to take control of your financial abilities, then you've got to understand your money story, right? You've got to take care of your money story. And your money story is everything to do with every decision that you're making every single day. Now, what do you think impacts your money story? Do you think your beliefs impact your money story? Of course they do. Do you think your current habits impact your money story? Of course it does. Do you think your current self-worth and self-esteem impact your money story? I want to share a story with you about a client of mine that came to an event of ours. His name was Tom, and Tom is a tattoo artist in a small little town called in Idaho. And I'd never met Tom before. And Tom was a successful tattoo artist, and he was earning the maximum amount that he could earn in his tattoo. He was working 6 days a week, busy 8, 9, 10 hours a day, making a really good living, but he was stuck financially. And when he came to my event that I was doing, he said, I can't work any more hours. And I said to him, I said, well, why don't you just double your prices? One simple idea, double your prices. He goes, John, I can't double my prices. I'm charging $350 to $500 a tattoo. How can I charge $700 to $1,000 for a tattoo? I said, because Tom, you're an artist, and people don't buy tattoos. People buy how a tattoo will make them feel, and people will buy, okay, the feeling that you can give them with your amazing art, and they will gladly pay you $700 to $1,000. And he hesitated and fought me for almost 2 days of the event. Finally, at the end of the event, Tom was, okay, I'm going to give it a try. Guess what? Within 3 months, Tom had doubled his income because he doubled his prices. And what happened? He started getting people that he didn't have before that thought he was too cheap and didn't want somebody at $350 because they didn't think the quality would be high enough. And so all we had to do with Tom was shift a belief and a paradigm of what he was holding on to that was keeping him stuck. And guess what? He came back to me a year later, says, hey, I'm stuck again. What should I do? I said, great, now change your paradigm again. Now hire somebody else to work for you, pay them a certain amount and keep the rest. Well, guess what Tom did? He did that again. So here's what happens. When you change the story, what your brain sees, what you feel, and what you experience changes. But more importantly, what you do changes. And so every one of your automatic thoughts, automatic feelings and emotions, and your automatic behaviors are because when we talk about financial stuff, and by the way, it happens for your relationship and every other part of your life, but since we're talking about money today, every one of your behaviors must match your internal money story, your internal thought pattern that comes automatically as a result of your conditioning. And so changing your money story is a skill. When you and I were kids, babies, to kids, it was our environment and our parents and teachers and siblings and friends and what we saw on television, maybe the books that we read, that's what gave us, the stories, the beliefs that we had. That's what gave us the ability to say, this is something I could do, this is something I can't. There's a little bit about how automatic thinking and your beliefs and habits impact your income and wealth. Here's something I'm going to share with you that I don't usually say many of you are caught up in being professional information gatherers, and you gather information, but you don't take action, inspired action enough to achieve your goal. So I want to invite you to stop taking in more information and ask yourself a question. What can I do? What can I do? And then create a little plan for yourself, okay, to do it. Have an awesome day. I appreciate you. Boom, boom. There is a high five for you. And I want to remind you that it's the action you take that creates the results in your life. It's also the action you don't take that creates the results in your life. And so you want to make sure that you focus on what's driving you taking action or not, and that is your beliefs, your values, your habits, and your emotions. Beliefs, values, habits, and emotions. And fear is an emotion that can either be used as fuel or to keep you stuck where you are. So there is your info for the day. There is your Achieve Even More training. I hope you have an awesome, awesome day. And adios, my friend. Hey, this is John, and if you liked that video, watch the next video because it is packed with things that you can do right now to achieve success way faster than ever before.